Served in the Marine Corps from 1962 and 68. Honorably discharged. Graduated from Woodbury College with a 3.85 GPA. Excelled in sales of copiers and served as Vice President of Marketing for 3 corporations. Then moved on, owned an Alzheimer's and dementia facility for the elderly. Sold the company and he retired to France. Now you know it's a guy. Sold the company and he retired to France. Wow. Attended l'École Gastronomie in Paris and lived in Dordogne, France for 4 years. Avid Dodger fan, father of 1 son and 2 daughters, and 2 grandchildren, of which he is very proud. And I love to talk about food, so I'd like to introduce Andy Huff.
I decided that this morning I was going to do something different, and what I'm going to do is tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a housewife who had prepared and served 32,760 meals in her 30 years of marriage. Needless to say, she was really tired of spending 2 hours in the kitchen preparing these meals. And for those mathematicians out there, that's 65,520 hours. She also became informed as to how many chemicals she had served her family. Antibiotics, steroids, hormones, DES, phosphates, nitrates, and of course lots of salt. So it's no wonder her family didn't glow in the dark. She was tired and worried about, and now she was forced to take on a job outside the home, and she was worried about how she and her family could eat healthier and how she would manage to balance a busy schedule and her responsibilities as a mom and a wife. And then her friend told her about the food dude. Hey! Her friend told her that the food dude actually came to her at a time that was convenient to her. She told her that the food dude offered a whole selection of cuts of beef, chicken, lamb, pork, veal, and seafood. She told her that everything she purchased was guaranteed for a full year. No more use-by dates, and even guaranteed against freezer burn. But what really got her interest was the prepared foods that would allow her to put a quality meal on her family's table in minutes, not hours, and get better quality than what she could find in the supermarkets. When she found out that it was the same cut served as restaurants like the Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, Spago's, the Daily Grill, Ruth Chris Steakhouses, and many other fine restaurants, she immediately thought it would be too expensive for a family on a budget. No, her friend told her, the food is only between $3.50 and $6.50 per portion. Well, if that's true, I better call the food dude right now. And she did. And everything her friend told her was true. And she and her family lived happily ever after. Now, I had distributed some recipes out here because one of the reasons people are not buying as much seafood as they would like, because it's healthier and it's really, really good for you, is that they don't know how to cook it. So in this recipe, you'll see how to broil seafood, grill seafood, fry seafood, or deep fry seafood, which the last 2 I don't mess with, but the first 3 are great. There's also some other recipes, and I think the best one in here is the sea bass with mango sea bass. You supply the mango, I'll supply the sea bass. And it's absolutely incredible. So if you get a chance, take a look at some of these recipes, take them home, and you just might be inclined to call me out. Now, what I do, I thought I'd explain to you that what I do here in the tip is I really discount my product to you. I don't sell customers out there at the same price. But the intent is for you to try the seafood or any other product I have, see how good it is, and recommend it to other people you know that eat. And I don't think you know too many people that don't eat. So that leaves a wide world of opportunity for you to bring leads in and increase your lead total and help me out. Please don't tell them what you paid for the product, but I do really discount a lot to my LeTip members. And a couple of weeks ago when I introduced my little special, which you guys supported me greatly on, and I really appreciate that, I was able to win a nice bonus because of your help. I don't know really if I would have made it without that, but you came through and I really appreciate it. So does anybody have any questions about what I do or anything? Jim?
Scallop. You destroyed our first go-around, so how would you cook them?
Well, scallops are, the ones I have are really, really big. They're individually flash frozen, and what makes them different is not only that they come from Iceland, but they don't shrink up like little, tiny little beads because they're not conventionally frozen. When you buy scallops in the store, they're conventionally frozen, and if you cook them at any kind of temperature at all, they just shrivel up and shrink on you. But these don't, because ice particles have not formed in between the meat particles. So sautéing them on a very low flame is the best way to cook the scallops. You can put butter and garlic and maybe a little white wine and just put the scallops in there. And when they change color, when they go from the kind of pearl color that they are to white like the tablecloth, take them out. Don't cook them anymore. Because the only way you can ruin those scallops is to cook them a little too long. But if you cook them properly, they are fantastic. Dr. Mark has a great recipe for barbecuing because he barbecued those scallops and he told me they came out superb. So you might want to ask him how he did it. So he's got a good recipe there for you. Any other questions? Sheila?
Question, anybody's a salmon lover? There's no better salmon you can get than from Andy. My little grandson loves his salmon because his mother won't cook fish at her house. One of those things. But he eats it at my house. But he comes over and I was making orange roughy from Andy and he said, "Where's the salmon? He's only 5. Where's my salmon?" And you know, I had to go and quickly manipulate salmon so we could have it for dinner. So nothing better than from Andy.
Thank you.
Everybody.
This is every piece of seafood I have is wild caught, not farmed. Now I had a customer that she was an attorney in Newport Beach, and I went to her. She bought a box of sole every single month because she absolutely loved it. This was my Dover sole from Dover, England, and she didn't order it. So I said, "Laura, how come you're not ordering the sole?" She said, "Oh, I go down to Costco and I get it for half price." And I said, "Laura, Costco doesn't have Dover sole." She said, "Oh, yes, they do." I said, "Oh, no, they don't." She says, "Oh, yes, they do." Well, you know, you can't get into an argument with a customer because you're going to lose. So it's not the thing. So I said, "Well, which Costco do you shop at?" She says, "I go to the Spectrum." I said, "Okay." So I went down to the Spectrum, and I went in, and I saw this big bag, and it had in letters this big, and I'm not exaggerating, in aquamarine, Dover sole. And I looked at it. It's not Dover sole. So I picked up the bag, and I took it to the meat manager, and I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me where this comes from?" He says, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, fish has to come from somewhere. Where does it come from?" He says, "Oh, from Oregon and Washington." And I said, "Well, Oregon and Washington are not known for sole. They're not native. Does that mean it's farmed?" He says, "Yeah, it's farmed." I said, "Well, how come on the outside of the bag it says Dover sole? I mean, it's not even from Dover, Maryland." So he says, "Well, I don't know about that." He says, "They just send me a list and I just check it off and just order it, and we sell a lot of sole." I said, "But it's fraudulent. It's not Dover sole. Dover sole comes from Dover, England." So we'll talk to the corporation. But that's what you're going to find out there in a lot of supermarkets. You're going to find misrepresentation. They got things labeled one way and they're not, and that's just what you find. But if you get sole from me, it's from Dover, England, and it's the best sole you can get anywhere. Anything else? Thank you very much.